Peace. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Foul Playland. As always, I'm your foul player, and I am feeling like abject shit this morning. But the Jets and the Giants didn't help that scenario very much. One, because I wanted the Jets to lose, so you get a better pick than the Jaguars. Probably could have got the second pick overall. Two, because the Giants look like dog shit. But I'm gonna make a draft video for both of them and what I think they should do in this upcoming NFL draft. And I'm gonna start with the Jets. Another thing too, I like the Jets and Giants, so I can make videos on both teams. But as far as the Jets go, their biggest need, some might say, is pass rush. I could agree with that. But I think the more glaring need is the fact that they let Greg Van Roten, the worst offensive lineman in the entire league, play at the right guard spot for most of the year. With the COVID injuries that happened today, Greg Van Roten was right back at that spot, and he didn't fail to disappoint. He played just as terribly as I normally remember him. Greg Van Roten sucks. If I were the Jets, I'd look to try to shore up two spots on that line. And I think a good route that they could go is drafting Tyler Linderbaum at center, who I think is a really, really good prospect at that position. One of the best I've seen in a little while. No, he doesn't rank up with Nelson from Indianapolis, but he is pretty good. He's a significant notch below that, but that's still fantastic. I like those guys that could become the captain of a unit, and I think Tyler Linderbaum fits that role. I think that's what he's doing at Iowa as is, and he plays really good and against really good competition. If the Jets could bag him, I would like to go after Linderbaum. I would like to go after a tackle too, but I don't know if you could fit the pass rusher or premier pass rusher in addition to picking up two linemen in the draft early. I would like for the Jets to trade one or both picks back and get themselves some currency. A lot of people right now have the Jets drafting Derek Stingley at number 4 overall. And I think that Derek Stingley is a extremely talented football player. But the Jets hierarchy this past offseason or this past draft basically had a bunch of spare parts as far as like where they picked people to address the cornerback position. And it worked out. It worked out fantastically. So why? I mean, I would rather take two more shots in the later rounds than to spend capital on a position that's not really a dire position. It's not a crazy position of need. And I don't know what the cornerback room would look like to have all those young people play on it. Especially with Derek Stingley. I don't know if he's a bad kid or not, but I know he's had diminishing results in the last 2 years. This year he was injured. But I mean, I don't know what the situation is there. But I'd rather go with the guy who's gonna get in the quarterback's face. If you watch today's game, you can't front. There was no pass rush there. We didn't have Quinton Williams playing, who's not that much of a pass rusher on his own. But then you got guys like Huff. We haven't had a pass rusher in ages on this team. And even the last pass rusher we had, I mean, he was good, but it wasn't like Abraham was like this world killer. I would rather even take two chances at pass rusher and even blow the line off temporarily in a sense. But if they addressed one premier lineman where they could replace a Noah Fant or a Robert Moses at the tackle positions or the swing tackle positions, I'd be okay with that. Noah Fant makes a lot of money. I don't know what it would cost, if they cut him this year. And I don't want Moses anywhere near this team next year at the right tackle spot. So if Mekhi Becton comes back to any semblance of health next year, you could pretty much peg him in to be the left tackle. Though I would experiment with the idea of putting him at right tackle. And you'll have a combination of either Noah Fant Or if you draft somebody, put Noah Fant as your swing guy, or cut Noah Fant and put whoever. Charles Cross, I like, even though I think he's a little small. But I like Icky from North Carolina a lot better. Icky Omofano, I don't know his name. But I think he's really good. I also, at the tackle position, like Evan Neal. But I actually like Icky a little bit more than I like Evan Neal. I think Evan Neal's good, but Icky looked more dominant this past year. And Icky does a lot of things like Mekhi Becton, like where he just manhandles people. And he's a little undersized too, but if Icky doesn't work out at the tackle position, I mean, I'd put him in to the right guard position and call it a day. But I think the Jets personally should at most draft 2 linemen and try to bring in a veteran guard at the right guard spot. So if they say they drafted Tyler Linderbaum and then put a Cross or Icky at the right tackle spot or Evan Neal, I would like to shore up the line so that we don't have a big youth movement on the line and get one veteran presence. And it'd be cool if that were at the guard position rather than try to work the veterans that we currently have in place, that like McGovern or anybody on that line. Like that whole line like stinks besides Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker. But also I know like at the cutting Noah Fant or cutting Connor McGovern in the center are gonna both save us about 10 million if we cut either one of them. I think, and the penalties are very similar too. Like I think the penalties are about 2 million or 2.9 million for one of them. So I wouldn't mind like cutting one or both of them and doing something else with that money. I don't know if that's feasible, but I think both those guys don't contribute much. And I'd rather replace them or replace one of them at least. But at edge rusher, the Jets are in desperate need of edge rush help. I think George Karlaftis may be there at the 4th pick. If not, one of either Aiden Hutchinson, who I doubt is going to be there. I think he's going to get picked first. But one of either him or Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be there. Now, Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, like I think he's good, but I think he's really overrated. I think he's not explosive like a lot of people think he is. I'd rather, for the Jets, take George Karlaftis. I think he fits them better, but am I going to cry if they take Kayvon Thibodeau? No. Do I think that they should continue to address the defensive line if they take Kayvon Thibodeau? Probably. I think they should try to add two ends and call it a day. Like, I mean, or draft a Kayvon Thibodeau, and if you see somebody who's tempting next year that you could draft, or if one of these really good guys like Majai Sanders or who knows, like Jermaine Johnson, I think from Florida State, if they happen to fall out of the first round, you know, would it kill me like if they took both of them or 2 edge rushers? Absolutely not. But I'm trying to do these assessments for the early rounds, or just for like round 1 and 2 and 3. But the Jets also could use help at tight end, as could the Giants. But this tight end class, I'm not going to say they're underrated, but it's kind of like going through the cracks. Like where last year you had Kyle Pitts, and, you know, I think he ended up going top 10 to the Falcons. But a lot of these tight ends in this class, I think, are really good, especially as receiving options. I like this kid, Trey McBride. I think he's from Colorado. But I also like Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. I like the tight end from Texas A&M. He's really good at blocking. I like the tight end from Wisconsin, too. I forget a lot of these people's names. I don't care. But there's a lot of good tight end options. And, I mean, if there's a position of need, I don't mind, like, wasting or addressing those positions twice, especially if you're a Jet fan. If you're a Jet fan and you say, oh, well, I don't like the fact that they may draft 2 defensive ends or 2 defensive or 2 offensive linemen. I mean, right now, we have had no tight ends that have been good since forever. We've never had a good tight end. We haven't had a defensive end since the 90s. So if you take 2 draft picks and waste a little bit of draft capital to address one of those needs, and to really improve your chances of addressing those needs forever or for a good while, 10 years, why not? I mean, we suck at like trying to find a good option. Picking one pick here, one pick there. I think the last guy we drafted was that dude from at tight end. I forgot his name. I think it started with a J. Oh, Jace or something. His last name was. He was terrible, terrible, and we wasted a second round pick on that. I'd rather take two shots on maybe some experimental picks like that, like Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. He's a little bit of an experimental pick because Coastal Carolina plays a lot of scrubs, and they actually had a really good team this year, like Jeffrey Gunther and the quarterback. I forget his name, but I'd take a risk on Likely. Likely, I think could be the goods, especially as a receiving option. He's better than anything the Jets or Giants have had for 10 years. But if not, I mean, if you take Likely and Trey McBride, you really have a good chance of one, if not both, end up playing really well. As far as linemen that I like in this draft, I did mention like some of them. I like the center from Notre Dame. I think he's gonna fall like later into this draft. Um, at the guard position, I mean, I don't think it's as deep as people say it is. Like, I think there's some serviceable guys like Thayer Munford from Ohio State. He'll probably be there like late second or maybe in the third round. But if you really want to get premier help at that line at the offensive line in this draft, you got to go early. And I'm gonna repeat some of these points for the Giants because they need line help too, and it is what it is. But if you want to get really really good help, you got to go early. I mean, like, do you want to like take a risk and draft that Trevor Penning guy like in the late first round? I mean, that's kind of getting cute. If you need the help, I mean, like, do it early. I mean, if you want to trade back, I mean, trade back with like the Raiders or something, or Carolina. I mean, even though they're picking at 9 right now, but trade back where you could fall into the teens and still draft at least one good lineman. You could draft a premier edge rusher and a premier lineman if you move back both picks even, as long as you ended in the high teens. You're talking like 12, 13. If one of your picks ends up there, you're definitely going to get a premier lineman, and you have a good chance at getting a other position of need like a defensive end, no matter what. I also think the Jets are lacking at linebacker. I like Nakobe Dean from Georgia, I believe. Adam Anderson, he's from Georgia actually. I'm sorry. Adam Anderson, he's the goods too, but I don't know if that case is gonna kill him. I think Adam Anderson might be the best linebacker in this class. I think he's better than Nakobe Dean. I like Nakobe Dean. I think he overshoots some of his targets, but if I took Nakobe Dean at the end of the first round, or I think he's worth that a pick there. I just think Anthony or Adam Anderson, whatever his name is, the linebacker from Georgia, he's the goods. He could cover really well. He could get after the pass, like the quarterback, extremely well. I mean, if the Jets take a defensive end and put that guy at linebacker, I mean, we're going to be a problem on the defense. And our defense is not that great. We suck. I mean, like, the Jets made it seem like this year the defense was going to be the calling card. I mean, do we have a potentially good defense? Yes. Do we have a pass rush? Not even close. I could be a better pass rusher than what the Jets have on the roster right now. And it's been that way forever. I mean, so gambling and taking a shot at those positions with more than one pick are good. The Jets also needs help at safety on the low. Like, I don't think that this kid, the white kid that we have at free safety is going to cut it. I think that they should put that kid as like a cornerback here, safety there. Like, just put him on dime packages, like, if you need to. Like, but he's not going to be a everyday starter. So if you want to take a Jordan Battle, who I think is now not going to be drafted in the first round for some reason, that wouldn't be a bad pick for the Jets. I don't think that we're going to have anybody who's a veteran in our safety position next year. So I mean, or a premier player if we let go of May. So I mean, would safety be a terrible pick? No, and I think Jordan Battle is the goods. I think he's such easy comparison, but he kind of reminds me of Xavier McKinney with a little bit more bop to him. But if you get half of McKinney, that's pretty good still. But trying to think what we need as far as weaponry in the offense, I wouldn't mind taking a small receiver. This receiver class kind of sucks. There's a lot of guesses in this receiver class. There's a lot of big body guys that I think will do well as far as receivers go, but the Jets already kind of have that, and they addressed that in free agency. Everybody who the Jets have as far as receivers go, Barrios overrated. That kid Cole sucks. Um, the other guy, I forget his name. They're just forgettable cats. Like they could all be replaced. Like, am I less of a Jet fan for like not knowing who they are verbatim? Maybe, but they suck. If they played well, like I would know who they are. They suck. So would it be cool like for the Jets to take a one of these small little crafted receivers? Yes, but I mean, am I gonna overpay for that? I wouldn't. I mean, like when you if the Jets address that receiver position in the second round, you're talking maybe Drake London drops down there, but they already have a big guy. Chris Olave is not going to go into the second round. Treylon Burks likely not going to go into the second round. But I think the premier receivers in this draft class are four, and that's Jameson Williams, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, and Treylon Burks. Five. Jahan Dotson is a crapshoot. John Michie with the injury, crapshoot. David Bell from Purdue, I like, crapshoot. Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama, I like him too, crapshoot. Wayndale Robinson from Kentucky, I like him a lot too, crapshoot. Romeo Dobbs, crapshoot. Justin Ross, not a crapshoot, but they already have a big guy. These are like the premier guys, and none of them pop out at you. I don't think that like none of those guys are like the goods like that. I mean, the one who probably fits the Jets the most is Chris Olave, but damn, if I'm gonna take him like early on in this draft, like that's gonna be top 10. No thanks. Um, and I have love for Olave. I mean, like even though I crap on like Ohio State players a lot of times, but I think Olave, I would have taken him in the second round, first round last year. Had he entered the draft, but trying to think what other needs that yeah. So I mean, like linebackers, like we're lacking. Mosley stuck with us. I mean, he's not bad, but name another linebacker on the Jets. You really can't. They all suck. Cornerbacks, I wouldn't even touch the position, man. Like, I mean, Stingley's good, but the Stingley's a crapshoot. I mean, and I'll be the first to tell you that Stingley was fantastic in college. His freshman year, though. But do I want to like gamble on the fact that he was a bomb freshman and then you know goes into the Jets and starts playing like a pouty biatch? Nah, it's too risky, man. The Jets suck. Like we're not a team that people come and say, oh well, let me be on my best behavior as a player because this is the Jets. Like no, it doesn't even sound right. Cair Elam, it's kind of the same as Stingley as far as that cornerback position. He's really good, but he got burnt this whole year many times. I've seen many games that Elam got burnt. McDuffie from Washington, he's okay. The Roger McCreary, I like, but he's average though. He's just serviceable. It's not better than what we have on the roster. Not much better. The only guy I like in this cornerback class, who I like a lot, and it's maybe because he's moving up in the ranks a lot, is Juice Gardner. Ahmad Gardner is the business. He's really good. Andrew Booth, I mean, a lot of dudes are saying he's top 10. I don't know about that, man. Like, dude's a bugging. I mean, if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong, but I don't think I will be. I like Darion Kendrick, too, but again, this is just serviceable guys. I mean, do you want just regular guys? We have a bunch of regular guys, like, on the roster right now at cornerback, and we got them via addressing them with late round draft picks. Let's do that again. Call it a day. Get a defensive end. Get a lineman. Maybe get another couple toys for our quarterback to throw to at the tight end position particularly. But if you find another receiver on the cheap, I would bag him too. But that's about it. I mean, and this draft, I mean, like, it's very top heavy too. You know, these defensive ends, and I'm gonna name them right now. Like the as far as who I think, well, this is because this class is really loaded. But as far as edge rushers go, but these are the guys who I think should get first round consideration. A Jagbo, you got to give him first round consideration. But I wouldn't take him with the Jets because it's too early. Kingsley Barre, he's a first round consideration, though I think he's overrated. Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, Karlaftis, the kid from Cincinnati, Majai Sanders, Nick Bonito, overrated. Zach Harrison from Ohio State, also overrated. Yeah, there's not much there. I mean, like, there's another kid. I actually watched a little bit of tape of him recently. I can't recall now, but there's a lot of scrubs though. A lot of scrubs. The kid from Penn State, he's getting a little bit of hype now. I forget his name. He's not that great either. Gunther is the goods too. There's a edge rusher from Washington I really like. He's always injured though, but he's just as good as anybody on this board. And he may fall to like the third or fourth round. He has a Hawaiian like name or one of those Pacific Islander names. Who knows? But this draft fits the Jets really well. It also fits the Giants really well. I say that most years, but then the Giants and Jets always break your heart and draft some stupid shit. But let me know what you guys think with that. I'm out. Peace.